So up, Dr. Will James reporting to you. Before you do anything, hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button, increase the algorithm. Today, I want to talk about the movie Straw from Tyler Perry. Um, Firstly, I want to say, you know, um, I applaud, Tyler Perry's work ethic and what he's done, what he's come from, being a black man in Hollywood, in the industry, and being able to amass the fortune that he's amassed. Um, that's good for him. While I don't agree with, some of, the acting as Medea, grown black men in a dress, I don't support that. While I was younger, I was in like my early teens when he came out, and I thought it was funny. But at the current stage I'm at in life, it's just like, I don't applaud that. Black men in dresses, even for entertainment purposes, I just don't support it. But the movie Straw, um, you know, just because Tyler Perry is a black movie director, I don't think that he is above criticism and being critiqued and his films being critiqued. Some people just, you know, I saw some people saying like, oh, if you don't like it, whatever, just leave it alone, don't watch it. That's not how this works. If we watch a movie, we can critique it. We can say, thumbs up, thumbs down, 5 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10. We can say that. Um, but the movie, I want to start off by saying, I don't really think that plot twists are the type of films that Tyler Perry should do. He had a plot twist. What was the name of that other movie he had did? There was a plot twist in it, where when the dude had got hit over the head, and then he pushed it down the stairs. He got pushed down the stairs, and then later on he was still living. And um, what was the name of that one? I gotta look it up now. I gotta look it up. Hold on. A Fall from Grace. So in A Fall from Grace, there was a plot twist and it didn't make sense. Just like in Straw, it didn't make sense. The plot twist where at the end of the film, the daughter is dead and it's revealed that the daughter is dead. So I didn't like that. So there's a few quick things that I want to go over. So one is the plot twist, the storyline not making sense. Her not having a direct deposit in 2025. I don't know how many people don't have direct deposit. That doesn't make sense. Um, she got robbed. Um, she killed two people, which didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for her boss to be such an idiot, to be such a jackass, and accuse her of planning it when she clearly is wearing her name tag, and that's why the guy would know her name. Also, if she planned it, the person would make sure not to say her name. That wouldn't make sense for her to overreact and then shoot him. And for him to immediately start saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna send you to jail. You planned this." Didn't make sense. Um, Even how he was acting at the beginning of the movie when she showed up, that didn't make sense. He didn't say that she was late to work. It was just a busy day at work. Also, I've never seen a supermarket that was that chaotic. I don't care if it's the first or 15th of the month, people getting their checks. I don't care. I've never seen it that way. I don't know what neighborhood that was. I don't know. That looked like third world in the 90s. Like it was catastrophic. That was ridiculous. Um, Also, the movie, I understand he's trying to have black actors and black actresses, but he has black people being like idiots to black people because the um the lady who was in charge of her, the landlord who was in charge of her rent, was a black woman. So she had a black woman who wasn't um understanding of her and her experience and her situation and her hard times. And I heard someone say that that also was a hallucination that didn't really happen, that she didn't really get put out. My whole thing is If she didn't really get put out, that doesn't make sense. If she wasn't really getting evicted, she really wasn't late on her rent and really wasn't getting kicked out, that doesn't make sense. If she really was getting kicked out, you mean to tell me your landlord, the landlady who's on the same property, doesn't know that your daughter died the night before? She doesn't know that? Then we don't see her mother to the end of the film. Now, let's say the landlord lady didn't know that. The mother couldn't have let that be known. The mother didn't check up on her daughter who just lost her child to the end of the movie. Like the mother calls her at the end of the movie. That doesn't make sense. Then also the whole big holdup in the movie is when she gets to the bank and she ends up robbing the bank, sort of by accident, because she puts the gun on the counter and she's just like, yo, just cash my check. You know me, just cash my check. She's on her last straw. She's mad at the bank teller for following protocol, for not going against company policy. But at the beginning of the film, when the lady who's trying to play with her WIC card or whatever, she says, "We don't take that here. I can't violate company policy. We don't do that." So you want someone to violate company policy for you, the bank teller, just to cash your check without ID, but you couldn't let the lady pay with WIC because it's company policy. That makes no sense. You're on your last straw. She could have been on her last straw. She could have had a hard time. So, furthermore, it doesn't make sense to make the storyline of the movie to be 24 hours to this 24 hours of her being on her last straw. I don't know if Tyler Perry has been wealthy for too long, but you could be on your last straw. It could be a week, 2 weeks, a month, even months of things seeming like they're compiling and you're not getting a break. Or whenever you think you're getting on your feet, you get hit with something that sets you back. This doesn't have to be a 24-hour time span. He could have showed us over time that this lady was dealing with hardships, dealing with tough times as a single mother, and the experience was, weighing on her. It didn't have to be within that one day to where we see her get out of bed, it's hot, she's hallucinating. It looked like she's taking her daughter to school. She walks in to her job and she's having a tough time at work. It's busy, and then people are being hostile with her. Someone drops a glass bottle by her foot on purpose. Someone pushes a glass bottle towards her or whatever. She's loan her rent. The landlord gets on her about not having the rent due, and she's going threatening her to put her stuff out. She's at work not even long, and the school calls, which we now know wasn't really the school calling. That was her hallucinating, which that's going very far. But then she gets ran off the road by a cop who has extreme road rage. Does a whole pit maneuver in broad daylight. That makes no sense. Then threatens to kill her in front of another cop, which is crazy, especially in 2025 with body cameras, and she was wearing a body camera. That's weird. That's just not reasonable, not logical that would happen to that extreme. Then she goes back to her job and gets robbed. A gun put in her face. And one of the first homicide was an accident, and even if it wasn't an accident, you could say it was in self-defense. So she would have been fine to not kill the boss. He can't prove that she set that up because she didn't set that up, and there would be no proof connecting her to the guy that was robbing the store. He knew her name, okay. Like she said, she was wearing a name tag, but she just wanted her check. He said it's company policy to mail the last check once you're terminated. if you don't have direct deposit. If she had direct deposit, it would just come, she would have got paid that day or the next day. It would have been already going directly. But it made no sense to kill the boss. That made no sense. But yeah, so she kills the boss, then takes her check, and then she goes over to the bank, doesn't have direct deposit, ends up holding up the bank and holding other Black people hostage who could be on their last straw. Builds a connection. She gains support from people watching it live, which I don't know of a bank robbery going viral and people going down to a bank that quickly and, supporting outside. I think that was far-fetched. I think he was trying to emulate John Q, but it just doesn't make sense. And that's what I'm saying. In the movie John Q, this was over several weeks and months of John Q being on his last straw. For those of you who didn't see the movie John Q with Denzel Washington, his son was, sick, needed a heart transplant. His heart was too big for his body. He needed a heart transplant. His son passed out during a baseball game, and he thought he had it was covered under his job's insurance, but it wasn't. They tried to save the money up. He sold everything, didn't have enough money. And, finally he just lost it. He was on his last straw, and he holds the hospital up to force them to give his child a heart transplant instead of having him on some donor list, waiting until, he dies because they didn't have the coverage. That's a perfect example of how, this movie could have been better if it was shown a compilation over time of things piling up and not just in 24 hours with this twisted plot twist that didn't make the most sense or made no sense at all. I also don't see any healthy woman. I don't see any woman with healthy relationships who come from a healthy household who are, applauding this film or relating to it. It's women who don't have healthy relationships, either with their dad or the father of their children. A lot of single mothers who are applauding this. Trauma bonding through a film that shows the struggle of single Black mothers. And it's just compiled and it's exaggerated. A lot of hyperbole had to be placed in the film to make it what it is. But again, where is the father in this situation? Where's her help? Where's her support system? And there's people who don't have support systems in life. But again, people have to take accountability for how they do things in the situations they put themselves in. And that's what you don't really see in the film. In the film, you see her sleeping in what it looks to be like a sweat box. It's extremely hot when she wakes up. So my question is, her daughter passed, but was she sleeping like that in those conditions with her daughter in a sweat box? No AC and it's hot in whichever state they're in. It's summertime and it's extremely hot, because in the bank, she said she sleeps in those conditions. When they said they turned the AC off, she said she sleeps like that all the time. So why would you be struggling and sleeping like that in those conditions? And then where is your mom, who is your support system, to where you're sleeping in those conditions? And how does she not have government assistance? How does she not have government assistance? It doesn't appear that she has it. You're trying to do it on your own, or what were they trying to say? Because why is she getting evicted? She's not on Section 8. She's not. I'm not understanding. There could be something I'm missing. But, let me see some of my notes. I don't want to miss anything. I went over the plot twist that made no sense. The tone of the film, it's too much. It's melodramatic tone. That makes it seem more like a soap opera. It doesn't seem realistic for what was taking place in Taraji P. Henson's or the character Janaya's life. Stereotypical depiction of a single black mother. It was over the top, like I said, exaggerated. The storytelling lacks, sufficient context. The situations were over dramatic. Unrealistic character decisions. Initiating the bank standoff over a check. Like I said, her killing the guy in the bank or unaliving the guy in the bank, her boss, the way her boss acted, the whole film is just unrealistic. I've never seen a boss that tyrannical, like that for no reason. And it's as if she has no rights. Like you literally have the right to not be in a hostile work environment. And that boss was totally creating one. Like that makes no sense. There's no human resources at that job. Predictable narrative, emphasis on trauma over healing. The struggle overshadows the message of, dealing with healing and being resilient. It was over the top. Inconsistent pacing of the film. The pacing is uneven. Certain scenes drag on too long, and you want them to be over with, and certain scenes are very short, and you're like, wait, what's going on there? Limited exploration of systemic issues. They could have focused more on systemic neglect and societal failure of, Black people or Black women, and they could have showed the correlation of how she got there. That wasn't done. So it was a lot of missed opportunities in the film. So overall, it was a movie. I watched it. These were the flaws that I saw, and overall, I can't say it was a good film. A good film like when I did the review for Sinners, I think that was a great film. With this, I don't really see much to say it was a good film about. You know what I'm saying? If I had to rate it, it would probably be like 4 out of 10, I guess. Not average. I would say, 4 out of 10. Not his best work. But he has a fan base, he has the Black audience. So another film comes out and we're gonna watch it. Even myself, I know I'm gonna watch it. Chances are I'll watch it to critique it. But y'all can let me know what y'all thought of the video. Let me know what y'all thought of the movie. Drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to hit that like button. Peace.